Hey guys, Soupy's Games here. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to get time to do this, but basically what I want to do is talk about the Revelations 3 trailers that have been dropped so far. Some interesting things. We already know from the trailers that basically we're going to get a conglomeration of a bunch of different maps. Going to be able to, it looks like, teleport between the areas. And there's for sure some maps in there that we know about, like Nacht der Untoten and other places, but there's some other things I wanted to point out as well. First trailer we have is the Every Story Has a Beginning. I believe this was the first trailer that dropped. Every story has a beginning. You see several flashes, and I can't tell what the first couple are. Then you see a third flash, which is a power or something. Maybe Darius or something like that. This fourth one may be Kino der Toten. I'm not totally sure. It's really hard to tell. This next one is definitely the panel in the giant on, I believe, the teleporter C. This next one looks like it's from Shi no Numa, like a shack out in the middle of the jungle. The next one is definitely Verrückt. I believe that's where the bathrooms were, something like that. Looks like that mental hospital, Verrückt. Moving on here, the opening shot, it looks the same as the Origins map. Moving on, we have a shot of Nacht der Untoten, the stairs there. We've had multiple shots of that. We also have Mob of the Dead. And then we see Takeo, or I think it's Takeo, at a teleporter in Kino der Toten. This is in the theater. And it definitely looks like it's all jacked up. So the universe has been ripped apart. We already know that from the second trailer that dropped as well. So this is definitely Kino der Toten. Next thing we have is a teleporter-like thing. We'll get to look at that in a couple different places. This one is blue. This is Der Eisendrache right here. The roof is caved in. There's some E115 making things float. And then we have this blue glowing ball thing in the middle with all the 4 characters there. So that's the end of that trailer, or the next trailer. It goes into this house, Dr. Monty talking. Dr. Monty is talking about something about relocating these kids to a pure world, one that hasn't been corrupted by the evil. It's kind of interesting. And it said that it wasn't evil until you guys came back. You have the kids on the floor. These kids are definitely, I believe, the 4. So Nikolai Dempsey, Takeo, and Richtofen with Samantha, I believe. Now, I don't know whose kids these are. Obviously, they come from different families because they're all different ethnic backgrounds. So were these test subjects? In the background, we see that gramophone, and we see a teddy bear right there. So it's kind of interesting. And they're playing war, if you notice the toys they were playing with. And then you see them teleport in. And then Maxis and Richtofen hug, which is really interesting. He's got the summoning key, so this is after all 4 of the other maps that we've seen so far in Black Ops 3 Zombies. The next shot we have is of Dr. Maxis sleeping. First of all, they destroyed the equipment. This guy is still in his lab coat with the gloves on, in a full suit, sleeping in a chair, and you see he's reading something, and this something doesn't look like it's light readings. Needless to say, he wakes up, he goes downstairs in the basement, and opens the summoning key and releases the Shadow Man. So here we have Dr. Monty talking about Dr. Maxis releasing the Shadow Man, which he said he didn't even know was in there. So that's interesting. Where does Dr. Monty come in all of this? And how did he not know that the Shadow Man was in the summoning key? Is this before all of the other maps? So he releases the Shadow Man, he destroys this world, but then do Richtofen and the characters go back to find the souls? I mean, so is this some kind of time loop that they keep repeating? And this world completely got corrupted. The Shadow Man went into the Shadows of Evil map, and then the 4 characters there trapped the Shadow Man in the summoning key, and then Richtofen took it. I'm not sure how Dr. Monty doesn't know that the Shadow Man was in the summoning key. And then you see this big blue ball. This thing opens up, and he destroys the entire world, breaking it apart. And then you see him in tentacle form, which you saw in Shadows of Evil there. So here's an interesting shot as well. We have these apothecary monster things that float around, and you notice the direction of the stuff that's coming from their mouth is not coming from, it's going to their mouth from this blue ball. And then you see there's several portals, these purple portals like you see in Shadows of Evil when you go through each part of the map. And then you see one floating in front of you, and a rock comes out of his mouth, and it looks like it might be Element 115 rock. You see the thing shoot into the portal. So is this thing trying to corrupt other dimensions by throwing in Element 115 into each world? And then here's Nacht der Untoten again with the stairs. Then we get the final trailer. That Apotheken symbol, when I went to Chronorium.com, means birth. So that's interesting. Is this the actual beginning of the entire Zombies saga? Or is this the end? I don't know. I'm not sure what map this one is. There's a Juggernog in the background. Then we have Der Eisendrache again. Then this portal here is red. So it's a different portal. And if you notice, they're walking into the portal in this shot. So this one's red. The other one we saw was blue in the original first trailer. And then we have a small shot of what looks like Origins. And then we have Mob of the Dead again. And then here's the red portal again. We have a glowing window on the left side. Doesn't really look like a perk machine to me. It just looks like a stained glass window with light coming out of it. And then this shot right here looks like it's Shangri-La on the stairs in the center of the map. This next scene is definitely from Verrückt, I believe. They had a lot of scribbling on the walls. And then Mob of the Dead again. It's hard to tell what this area is, but we have in the top right corner, we have a quick revive machine and a box location, as well as the guy holding Little Arnie's. And then it looks like another shot of Mob of the Dead. I think this shot right here might be the new shotgun, the Banshee. So the Banshee might be in the new zombie map as well. That's cool. And then this is definitely a shot of Kino der Toten. We have the teleporter on the left, the stage, and it doesn't look like there's a turret on the podium though this time. There was a turret before. You notice there's a box location, and then we have the Apotheken Servant again. So that weapon's back. And we have a new monster. This thing looks crazy. I don't know if this is a boss zombie, but we're already going to have Thrashers. We're going to have Margwas. Probably Panzer's back too. And then we have this thing to deal with as well. I don't know. This is going to be nuts. And then we have this shot of a Keeper flying real quick. And then here we have a Margwa. And you notice, the first thing that I noticed was the tentacles glowing purple and the mouth glowing blue instead of yellow or green or whatever it was in Shadows of Evil. So that's really interesting. And then we have the rocket shield being back. This is definitely a shot of Der Eisendrache. And on the left, we see a very interesting symbol. I'm not sure what this means. Maybe this is the map to each location. So maybe there's a center location and then 4 outlying locations that you can teleport. If you notice, there's 4 spikes or whatever you want to call them sticking out of the map. And maybe those are the 4 teleportations that you can take to each different type of remake of a map or something, like Mob of the Dead, Nacht der Untoten, Kino, and Verrückt, or something like that. And then we have a shot of, it looks like gravity spikes at the DG4 or whatever it's called. And you see in the background, there's the altar, and then you have the red teleport that they walk in at the beginning of this trailer. And then we have this thing coming out of some lava or something crazy. Maybe he's like the napalm zombies or something. The Pack-a-Punch, there's that church with the stained glass window I was talking about. And then the blue teleport in the back. And this thing, if you notice from the other trailers, by that blue ball, they were sucking. So this thing's like some kind of vortex. So maybe he sucks things up and maybe you have to avoid him by hiding or something. I don't know, or holding on. Very interesting. So this map looks crazy. We know that there's definitely going to be teleportations to other maps, some older maps, not sure which ones. The map given on the left side leads me to believe that there will be only 4 locations and then a central location. And the central location is probably where that Pack-a-Punch machine is, I would imagine. And the house, Samantha's house, maybe. Then you have 4 outlying areas. And what are these? They could be Mob of the Dead. We've seen a lot of that. We've seen a couple shots of Nacht der Untoten. So there's 2 of them. Then we've seen Kino der Toten, so that one's definitely in there. And then we've also seen a lot of Origins, so that one's probably in there. And I've seen some shots of Verrückt and some other maps, but I think those 4 are going to be in the new map specifically. Nacht der Untoten because it's the original map, and then you have these other 3 maps that are extremely huge in the zombies world. So I think those are going to be the 4 kind of like remade maps mishmashed into the Revelations map that we're going to get in about a week from now. I'm very hyped. This is going to be awesome. I can't wait. You guys, stay tuned to my channel. I'm going to have lots of tutorials, lots of videos regarding this new map. Thanks for watching the video, guys. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.